What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Saved for More. I am Luke Goodish, as always, and I will be off the cuff, as always. So today I got a quote for us. We're going to talk about a sweet quote. Good thing I didn't check on who the quote was by, so forgive me. Somebody old-timey and badass and stoic. So the quote is, "Man cannot remake himself without suffering, for he is both the marble and the sculptor." Just a sweet quote, right? In general, you could just kind of listen to that and say, pretty solid quote. But I mentioned in my video about David Foster Wallace, I wanted to do a video about sacrifice, right? Now, this might not actually be that video. There might, again, still, don't text me ever again. There might still be a designated sacrifice video. However, we're going to touch on that topic here when we analyze this quote and break this quote down. One more time, the quote is, "Man cannot remake himself without suffering, for he is both the marble and the sculptor." There will be this discussion of sacrifice, and that will come when we discuss the marble. When you're sculpting, you get this slab of marble, right? And it has to be whittled down. There has to be some kind of sacrifice made. But we will get to that when we discuss the marble. Let's first start with you being the sculptor. Like I said, this isn't all going to be a video about sacrifice and that concept. The idea of being the sculptor itself has a lot of its own great lessons. A sculptor is an artist, and like any artist, there is the War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. If you listen to Joe Rogan at all, you've heard him talk about this book 80 bazillion times. Essentially, one of the biggest, greatest takeaways from that book, Stephen Pressfield's The War of Art, is that all artists face resistance. That's the writer's block and all these different issues that come up and all these different excuses that we make. Me as a writer, I know that I struggled with resistance a lot in the past and used writer's block as my excuse not to write. I was waiting for motivation or inspiration. I was waiting for everything to hit. And one of the main ideas that Stephen Pressfield brings to the artist is the idea of going pro or turning professional. I forget how he says it. And essentially this means you are going to show up regardless of all circumstances. You are going to find a way to make it like a job, sit in front of your computer and do your writing. Or if you're a sculptor, 8 a.m., you're going to sculpt every day. You're just going to show up. So being the sculptor in this quote, that to me brings up ideas of discipline and actions one by one in a disciplined manner, in a consistent manner that moves the needle forward. Being the sculptor is the tough work that goes into it. Using the example for losing weight, since that's quite easy to picture and it's on a lot of people's mind, especially as we come into the new year. If you're trying to get in shape and you're trying to, lose some weight, things like that, it's going to take you being a sculptor, not only in the sense that you're shaping your body into something you'd like to see, but you have to be disciplined. You have to show up. You have to get past all the resistance, all the different, I need to wait for motivation. I need to wait for this and that. You need to just consistently show up, show up, show up. So now let's talk about the marble and the idea of sacrifice. So we lose a lot of that slab of marble in creating the statue of David, right? It gets whittled down from this big block into the freaking shredded guy. That's how it works. It is a process of losing to win. Again, using the example of losing weight, that means there's going to be some sacrifice. You are going to be taking stuff away, not only body fat, right? But eating foods that you like. It's going to be this process of losing to win. You're going to lose some free time if you want to be more successful. You're going to lose some hours of sleep if you need to study. There's this give and take, this pay now, pay later, Jocko Willing type thing. Ultimately, you will sacrifice. You will go through some discomfort. You will lose to win the pursuit of that final statue or the version of yourself that is more wholly in line with the idea of who you want to be. So that brings me to the point of, why do sculptors sculpt? What is the final product? What is the art of the statue? The statue is there to be admired and observed and judged, art critics, things like this. But art is subjective, right? My favorite book could be your least favorite. The movie I hate more than any movie on the face of the planet could be your absolute favorite. The painting I see and go, ew, gross, is the one you have hanging above your room and you're like, yeah, this. Art's so subjective. So when we think about the judge and, admiring the art and the statue at the end, your final product, when you think about the judgment of the artwork, the sculpture, your final product, you have to be reminded of Jordan Peterson's idea of building your own internal judge. Art is subjective. You are subjective. Don't let the outside world tell you who and what to be. That's the shaky base I've always talked about here. You need to bring it back inside and build your own judge, build your own steersman, make a goalpost for yourself within yourself. And that is ultimately how you have a happier, more fulfilling pursuit of a goal. If it all comes from in here and you are the judge. And you build this higher steersman within yourself to say, this is what needs to be discarded. That's you looking at the sculpture and going, you know what? I got way, way more shredded abs than that. Also, Pinsky? Extend that bad boy, huh? Creating a judge inside of yourself, an art critic within yourself to look at the sculpture and say, this needs to be fixed. That is useful. It has the utility of telling you what needs to be discarded, what needs to be added in order to get you closer to that final image that you want. That ultimate ideal, that ultimate steersman, that archetypal father I talk about here. And whatever that is for you simply has to be what's for you. And that is the last point. Again, art is subjective. Our lives are so subjective. Your ideals are your ideals. Who you need to be is who you need to be. And that's something that you figure out for yourself. So that is where I will leave you. You do that work on your own. Decide what is that ultimate statue going to look like, and you start to build it. And that's another quote I can leave you with. I don't know who does this one either. My bad. But tell yourself who you want to be and do what you must. See you guys next time. Take care.
I know you don't want to sneak through my window. I don't want to rush it. Take this shit slow.